"Hey there," one of them called as they passed, and he had to be talking to me since there was no one else around. I glanced up automatically. Two of them had paused. The other two were slowing. The closest, a heavy-set, dark-haired man in his early 20s, seemed to be the one who had spoken. He was wearing a flannel shirt open over a dirty t-shirt, cut-off jeans, and sandals. He took half a step towards me. "Hello," I mumbled, a knee-jerk reaction, and then I quickly looked away and walked faster to the corner. I could hear them laughing at full volume behind me. "Hey, wait," one of them called after me again, but I kept my head down and rounded the corner with a sigh of relief. I could still hear them chortling behind me. I found myself on the sidewalk, leading past the backs of several somber corner warehouses, each with large bay doors for unloading trucks, padlocked for the night. The south side of the street had no sidewalk, only a chain link fence topped with barbed wires protecting some kind of engine part storage yard. I wandered far past the part of Port Angeles that I, as a guest, was intended to see. It was getting dark, I realized, the clouds finally returning, piling up on the western horizon, creating an early sunset. The eastern sky was still clear, but graying, shot through with streaks of pink and orange. I left my jacket in the car, and a sudden shiver made me cross my arms tightly across my chest. A single van passed me, and then the road was empty. The sky suddenly darkened further, and as I looked over my shoulder to glare at the offending cloud, I realized with a shock the two men were walking quietly 20 feet behind me. They were from the same group I passed at the corner, though neither was the dark one who spoke to me. I turned my head to follow at once, quickening my pace. A chill that had nothing to do with the weather made me shiver again. My purse was on the shoulder strap. I had it slung across my body, the way you were supposed to wear it so that it wouldn't get snatched. I knew exactly where my pepper spray was, still in my duffel bag under the bed, never unpacked. I didn't have much money with me, just a 20 and some ones, and I thought about accidentally dropping my bag and walking away. But a small frightening voice in the back of my mind warned me that they might be something worse than thieves. I listened intently to the quiet footsteps, which were much too quiet when compared to the boisterous noise they'd been making earlier, and it didn't sound like they were speeding up or getting any closer to me. "Breathe," I had to remind myself. "You don't know they're following you." I continued to walk as quickly as I could without actually running, focusing on the right-hand turn that was only a few yards away from me now. I could hear them, staying as far back as they had before. A blue car turned onto the street from the south and drove quickly past me. I thought of jumping out in front of it, but I hesitated, inhibited, unsure that I was being pursued, and then it was too late. I reached the corner, but a swift glance revealed that it was just a blind drive to the back of another building. I was half turned in anticipation. I had to hurriedly correct and dash across the narrow drive back to the sidewalk. The street ended at the next corner where there was a stop sign. I concentrated on the faint footsteps behind me, deciding whether or not to run. They sounded further back, though. I knew they could outrun me in any case. I was sure to trip and go sprawling if I tried to go any faster. The footfalls were definitely further back. I risked a quick glance over my shoulder, and they were maybe 40 feet back now. I saw with relief, but they were both staring at me. It seemed to take forever for me to get to the corner. I kept my pace steady, the men behind me failing ever so slightly behind with every step. Maybe they realized they'd scared me and were sorry. I saw two cars going north past the intersection I was heading for, and I exhaled in relief. There would be more people around once I got off this deserted street. I skipped around the corner with a grateful sigh and skidded to a stop. The street was lined on both sides by blank, doorless, windowless walls. I could see in the distance, two intersections down, street lamps, cars, and more pedestrians, but they were all too far away, because lounging against the western building, midway down the street, were the other two men from the group, both watching with excited smiles as I froze dead on the sidewalk. I realized then that I wasn't being followed. I was being herded. I paused for only a second, but it felt like a very long time. I turned in and then darted to the other side of the road. I had a sinking feeling that it was a wasted expense. The footsteps behind me were louder now. "There you are!" The booming voice of the stocky, dark-headed man shouted the intense quiet and made me jump. In the gathering darkness, it seemed like he was looking past me. "Yeah," a voice called loudly from behind me, making me jump again as I tried to hurry down the street. We just took a little detour. My steps had to slow now. I was closing the distance between myself and the lounging pair too quickly. I had a good loud scream, and I sucked in air preparing to use it, but my throat was so dry I wasn't sure how much volume I could manage. With a quick movement, I slipped my purse over my head, gripping the strap with one hand, ready to surrender it or use it as a weapon as need demanded. The thick-set man shrugged from against the wall as I came to a stop and strolled across the street. "Stay away from me," I warned in a voice that was supposed to sound strong and fearless, but I was wrong about the dry throat, no volume. "Don't be like that, sugar," he called, and the raucous leather started again behind me. I braced myself, feet apart, trying to remember through my panic what little self-defense I knew. Heel of the hand thrust upward, hopefully breaking the nose or shoving it into the brain. Finger through the eye socket, try to hook around and pop the eye out. And the standard knee to the groin, of course. That same pessimistic voice in my mind spoke up then, reminding me that I probably wouldn't have a chance against one of them, and there were four. "Shut up," I commanded the voice before terror could incapacitate me. I wasn't going out without taking someone with me. I tried to swallow so I could build up a decent scream. Headlights suddenly flew around the corner, the car almost hitting the stocky one, forcing him to jump back toward the sidewalk. I drove into the road. This car was going to have to stop or have to hit me, but the silver car unsuspectingly fishtailed around, skidding toward a stop. Passenger door open just a few from me. "Get in," a furious voice commanded. It was amazing how instantaneously the fear vanished. Amazing how suddenly the feeling of security washed over me, even before I was off the street. As soon as I heard his voice, I jumped into the seat, slamming the door, shutting it behind me. It was dark in the car. No lights had come on when the opening of the door. I could barely see his face in the glow of the dashboard. The tires squealed as he spun around and faced north, accelerating too quickly, swerving around the stunned men on the street. I caught a glimpse of them diving on the sidewalk as we straightened out and sped toward the harbor.